Welcome. What I want to do in this lecture is to develop a way of logging in simply via email. So the truth is that I kind of hate logging into a website using a username and password or even email and password. For some websites, the ones I visit often, it kind of makes sense because I want to be able to log in fast. But there are a majority of websites that I visit every few months. For example, the websites I use it to submit a paper, or the websites I use in order to, I don't know, check the status of whatever. And for those, I really consider it an inconvenience to have to remember a password. I know there are password managers, but why should I even bother with those? What I would really like is the following. Since anyway, when I visit those sites, the first thing I do is hit the button that says, reset my password. I just want to build a login procedure that works as follows. When I go to the site, I hit login and it simply asks me, what's your email? I give my email, I hit OK or enter or login or whatever. This sends me via email a link. When I click on that link, I'm back on the website and I'm logged in. Right? So no need for passwords. Whenever I go to the site, I want to be able to enter my email, click on a button, get a link via email, click on the link, and boom, I'm in. That's what I want to do. Okay? So that there are no passwords to be had, but still the email is verified. And I want to build for you such a login system. Okay? I want to build a version of Auth that is able to do that. So in fact, you see that when we use the auth fixture normally, this gives us the normal login. The auth fixture is created here. Okay. And I want to rip this portion off and add my own fixture that enables me to log in via email. So this will be a longer lecture. I want to do it really from scratch without any tricks so that you can see all that is involved. Okay. So the first thing I do is that I want to rip out all these. We are not going to use it. So zoom. There is nothing that fits as good as, removing stuff that we are not going to use. So we can remove all these and we can create our own auth that will still use the session. And I'm going to call it auth without password. Or actually auth by email, simply by email. We use the session, we use the database, and do we use the database? No, I'm not sure we do actually. We don't even use the database. Okay, so I need to declare it somewhere, right? So I need to create a file that defines the auth by email. What I would like to do is actually provide it as a PR to Py4Web, but for the moment I will be more modest because I don't know if they like it. So I will simply put it here. Okay, I will create a new file that I call auth by email.py. Okay, and so here I will create a class auth by email. Okay, for the moment I simply create it in this way. I will have to fix it. Okay, I just want to make sure that everything is well connected. And so from here I have to import it, and I go here and I say from dot auth by email import auth by email. Okay, so that this is done. And now let me look at the code. No, this is Celery. We don't care about Celery. Okay. So there is also this register plugin business that we need to completely eliminate. Okay, because we are not using an auth to which we can register any plugin. Okay. So let me delete all these. Okay. This, let me comment it out because I may want to keep it just for my information for the email. Okay, and so this is gonna be my auth mechanism. So I created this auth mechanism, but I'm simply leaving it as optional, okay? If I want to enforce the auth login, then I will essentially do another method. Let me build this as an example. Action secure, just to give an example, okay? Action dot uses, okay, and this will have a db auth.enforce, I will call it, okay, and then secure.html. And so here we'll have a def secure. I simply return an empty dictionary, and here in the templates, just to be sure that I have it, I call secure just as a clone of the index, okay, and I have it. Okay, so now I have to start doing the actual work. And the actual work is as follows. In auth-by-email.py, these I want it to be, this auth by email, I want this to be a fixture. So I have to import the fixtures from py4web import fixture. Okay, I cannot do it. So in case of doubt, I always look at where things are created. So if I go to common, I see that from here I import auth. I want to find out where the fixture class is defined. So here is it's defined, and it's defined in core. Okay, so it is defined in py4web.core. So in my control, in my auth by email, from py4web.core, import fixture, okay? And this will extend the fixture class. Okay? And I also want to build another class that will be the class auth by email enforcer, okay, which is also a fixture. Okay, now what is a fixture? Well, let's look at the definition. A fixture is something, a fixture is something that has these methods. Let me copy them, it's very convenient. Okay, so I can decide what to do with them. I can copy them here, and I can copy them here. Okay, so let me first say what I want to do. I want the following flow. I want that if you are not logged in, you look in the session and there is no user email defined in the session. Okay, in that case, I know that you're not logged in, and I want to make sure that when you do log in, I created as the response of it, I add. So on request, what do I want to do? I just want to check if the user is logged in, and if so, I want to create a current user object. Okay, in auth, so that I can do auth.currentUser and recover the current user email. Okay, so let's check if the user is logged in, and if so, we create current user object. So let me see how to build this. First of all, when we created this auth by email fixture in common, we pass it the session. So let me go into this code and say def init self comma session, store the session. Okay, so we want to remember the session, of course. Self session is equal to session. And since we are at it, actually, we can look at the the auth initializer, and we can see that we may want to have prerequisites be part of the session, have the session in it. So as the prerequisites, we want to have the session in it. Okay, so we also say self prerequisites is equal to the session. Okay, this defines a dependency between the various fixtures. Now, once we have the session, we can do this. So if session, so what type is the session? Well, if you don't know, you can always look. So we can look at the session because I want to see how to access pieces of the session, right? So it's created here or there, and we see that the session is a fixture and that it has various methods, but it has this get item and set item that make it behave like a dictionary. Great. So I can go here and say if session get, and I can define user email to be my key. Let's do it a little bit better though. I can say, for instance, email key. So that I just define it once and for all is equal to user email, okay? And I call these like a key to access email in the session. So if I want to modify, there is a single place. In fact, maybe it's better to have this internal stuff begin with an underscore. So if session get email key, okay, and this would be a self session, what do I do? Then it means that the user is logged in, and so I can return a current user object, okay, which is just a dictionary that contains an email. Okay, so actually on request I may not need to do anything. So it's the property current user that needs to do the check. Property, okay, def current user, okay. So if I have an email, I return a dictionary where the email is equal to this. Okay. Else, I simply return none for the current user. So in this way I define a current user property that does the right thing. I don't think I need to say on request pass because that's the default behavior. I don't need to do anything on error. I don't need to do anything on success, and don't need to do anything on default. Okay, so all I do is that I return this. I'm able to return this current user object. That if I do get email of it, I will get the email, but it could be none. Okay, so this enables me to mimic the behavior of auth.currentUser that we have. Now the other thing is that I want that when you say enforce, I want that you get as a result a fixture that is able to do the enforcement. So let me create this part of the behavior, okay? And so I do property, no, sorry, not property actually, def enforce, okay, of self, okay, and the comment is that this returns a fixture that enforces login via email, okay, and so maybe I can update that comment. current user is none if the user is not logged in, else it is a dictionary containing the email and only the email. So I won't know, the name of the user nor any other data. I will just know the email. Good. And so I would say return auth by email enforcer. This would be the fixture, right? That I create passing the self session, because I'm quite sure that I will need the session there. Okay. So this complains because the init parameter is wrong. Okay, but I now fix it. Def init self session. Okay, initializes the enforcer. And I think I can just copy these lines. It's gonna be initialized in the same way. Okay. Now we really have to do something on the request. So because on the request, we need to check if the user is logged in. So essentially, if we have an email for the user, okay, then we return, okay, the user is logged in. Else we need to send the user to a controller where the user can log in. So else here, okay, I have to redirect the user to a URL where the user can actually log in. So redirect URL, and here I have to I want to define a path that is used in order to enforce the login. Okay, so let me for the hard code it. Okay, it's everything can be improved, but login path, and let me simply say that it is auth by email, actually without the slash. Okay, so this is the path at which the controller will be exposed that will enable me to log in. So this is the idea. So I go here and I want to redirect to a URL that is auth sorry, oh boy, I called it login path. Okay, so now I don't have neither redirector nor URL available, and so I have to figure out where to import them from. Okay, so might as well copy this line into my code. Okay, so these imports will now work. So I still have to take care of these of creating this URL. Okay, but this is the enforcer. When you do a request, I check if you're logged in. If so, I don't do anything. Otherwise, I redirect you to the login place. That's how it works. Okay, there are no errors, no unsuccess, no untransformed to worry about. So that's it for the moment. I have to implement yet the place where you can actually log in. So let me create that controller. So I do a def login self. Okay, this is the controller that allows a user to log in. Now, before I write it actually, okay, and I will write it, but before I write it, I have to essentially register this controller here, so that when a user hits a particular path, the path that is specified in login path, they will be redirected to these. Okay, so we know essentially how to register things if we are in the controllers. We do this thing in which we say action index and action users. Okay, but here we are in a class, so we need to do something slightly different, and I'm gonna put it into the initializer, and I'm gonna do something like this. I'm gonna say f is equal to action dot uses. What do we need to use? We need to have access to the session only. So session. Okay, and then these wraps self login. Okay, see, so this is the equivalent of this first step. You know, there is action uses that wraps index. Okay, except that I forgot here action uses self login, and I will need to specify the view as well. Okay, so I need to specify a view that I call auth by email.html. Okay, oh sorry, wrong place. Here. Okay, so this is what I used to wrap the login action, and I put the result in F. I put the result in F because I have to do one more step of wrapping. Okay, and so I have to say essentially action that takes the login path. Method is equal to get and also post. Okay, because I have to do form processing. Okay, of F. Okay, so these are the two wrappings, action uses and action. So this will make my login method reachable via this login path. Good. Good, and now I need to do it. So what do I do in the login function? Well, what I need to do here is that I need to check if the user is logged in. And if it's logged in, what do I do? Nothing. I may redirect them to some place. For the moment, I will hardwire it to the index directory. Okay. Or perhaps I should have like a I can have like here like default path is equal to index. Okay. So I can have this default path here. Self default path is equal to default path. Okay, so I can do that as follows. The code is similar to this. Okay, if I have already the user logged in, I don't want to bother with the user. So I do a redirect of a URL of self default path. Okay. So the user is not logged in. I provide a form to log in. Okay, and so I do a form is equal to form, and I don't have the forms imported. Let's see if I can import them easily. Well, maybe I remember where to import them from. From pyforweb.forms utils.form import form. Okay, and since I am at it, from pydal import field. Okay, because I need to create a form. So this is a form in which I fake a field called email. Requires is equal to is email. Oh goodness. From pydal.validators import is email. Okay, so I can do the proper verification. Required is equal to is email. Okay. Okay, so this is my form. CSRF session is equal to self session, so I protect it, and I think this works. Okay, now if form.accepted, I need to do something and I need to think at it. Okay, but otherwise I return a dictionary in which I return the form. Okay, so I'm skipping this because I first want to fix another thing. I want to fix the template, right? So this is registered with an auth by email HTML, and I would like to create this template before I forget about it. So here, there is an auth template, and I'm gonna create an auth by email template. So new file, auth by email HTML, okay. And what do I write in it? Well, I want to extend the layout as usual, okay. And in it I have a section class is equal to section to keep Bulma happy as usual, and inside these I maybe want to just say an h1 class is equal to title that says please log in via your email or something like that. And here I want to say I just want to put the form, okay. Maybe this will not look pretty, but we can come to that later. So at least this exists, and that's the right thing to display the form. So it will display a form in which people can enter an email and click submit. Okay, so this is done, and now I need to take care of what happens if the form is accepted. So what do I want to do here? At this point, in reality, okay, I want to send an email to the user asking to log in. Well, not really to log in, asking to confirm the email, okay, by clicking on a link. Okay, the link will cause the user to be logged in. So that's what I want to do. The point is how to do it. So I don't want to immediately play with having to sending emails. Okay, I want the sending of emails to be done via a function, via a class that somebody has to provide me, so that I'm completely generic compared to how emails are sent. So for the moment, actually, yes, let me do that. Okay, I have an emailer, which is an object that I also store. Okay, so I say self emailer is equal to emailer. Okay, and I will have a simple emailer that says class test emailer, okay, object, and this actually is a dummy class for sending emails. All it does is prints the link. Okay, so it doesn't really do anything. So def init self I don't know, pass is a bit stupid, and the real method that is there, in fact, let me take it out, sorry, and def send email of self. So what I really do when you send an email is that I print the link. Okay, so this takes a link to be emailed, and all I do is print please click here, okay, link. So this is completely for testing, okay, but I want to pass an instance of this test emailer to my auth by email class, so that you can create any class that is able to send links via email, and you can use that, and you can pass it to my auth by email, and it will work. Okay. So I guess emailer is equal to none, and if you do not specify the emailer or test emailer, just for testing. Okay, great. At this point, I have some better idea of what to do, and I have to send the link. So first I have to produce the link, obviously, right? What do I want to send in the link? I want to send in the link a signed URL that contains the email. Okay, so So I think it would be better to get here also a URL signer, so that one can always use the same URL signer. And so I say self.url signer is equal to URL signer. Okay, so with this URL signer, I can say link is equal to a URL to. So first of all, this is the login path, and I can maybe say auth by email login. Okay, and then I have a confirmation path, okay, which is what they click on, and these I want to be called auth by email / confirm. Okay, so this can all be done better. Okay, but for the moment, so this could all be parameters and everything can be done in a more beautiful way, but this is enough for me to be able to test it. So this URL will be a URL to confirmation path. Then I will store here the email, so the form.vars email. Okay, so this is the email the user has given to me, to which I wanted them to confirm it. Okay, so here, by the way, I need to also have the email among these parameters. Okay, because so replace these with something that sends the link to the email. Okay, so I go back here and so the link contains the confirmation path, the form email. Okay, and so this will be signed, is not a variable, and then this will have signer is equal to self.url signer, so that the link is actually signed. Okay, so here I generated the link, and then what do? Once I self.emailer send email, okay, and I send it to the form.vars email. So I send it to the user, and this is the link I send. Now, once I send the link to the user, what do? Good question. What should I be doing with them? Nothing. This is one rare case. Okay, maybe I can simply do redirect to URL of so I call it waiting path. Okay, so this is a waiting path, is the path where they sent that we need to wait for the click, and so I can say waiting path is equal to auth by email / waiting. Okay, so it's waiting for the confirmation. And so here we have also this path to wrap. Okay, you see this wraps the login, and so I need to do a similar thing for the waiting, right? So I need to do auth by email wait, and this is auth by email login self wait. Okay, so the method is just get in this case, so I could also not specify it, but why not? And this is a waiting path. Okay, so these two, maybe I add a comment like register path to login, and here register path to waiting. Okay, so I need to rename these auth by email login. Okay, and let me duplicate it just to be super fast. Auth by email wait. Okay, and in yeah, I added to Git, and in the wait I don't have any form, and so I simply put out a message that says something like you should have received an email with a link to click. Please click on it. Okay, very informative. Great. So everything can be improved, but this is a good beginning. Okay, so the idea is that once you enter your email and click, I send you to this page where we are waiting. Okay, and we're not doing anything yet. Now there is this other fact. Okay, so there is this confirmation path, and I need to register the path also to the confirmation path. So let me do this. I do this, register path to confirmation. We are becoming wizards at it. So this is gonna be a get. This is a self-confirm. Okay. Wait, I haven't written a wait method. Okay, the wait method is very trivial. Def wait self. Okay, and this simply returns an empty dictionary so that I can render the page. Okay, not very useful, like controller for waiting page. Great. Okay, now I need the controller for the confirmation page, right? And this needs to be confirmation path. And so the confirmation page, what do I need to do there? Def confirm self. Okay, controller for the confirmation page. If the link is valid, writes that the user is now logged into the session. So the first thing is, if the link is valid. So how do we check that the link is valid? Well, I forgot to do it here. Okay, but here, this is the action uses, and you know how to verify a URL. So we have to say essentially URL signer dot verify. Okay, this will verify. This is the way in which we will check that this call to confirm actually has a correct signature. The signature has a very important use. The signature is used for this. Imagine that I log in and I specify that my email address is luca@ucsc.edu. I get a link to be able to confirm luca@ucsc.edu emailed to my luca@ucsc.edu email address, right? Now, the important part is that I should not be able to change the email address in the link, because if I change the email address in the link, I could take the link, replace the address with, I don't know, clara@ucsc.edu and log in as Clara instead of Luca. So we have to make sure that I cannot tamper with the link I receive. And so we need absolutely to check the signature here via this of the link in order to confirm the registration. Okay, that is kind of key. At this point, actually, the act of registering is quite simple. Oh yes, it's quite simple, except I made another mistake, because the path we are gonna get is gonna be a confirmation path, okay, plus /email, right? I mean, there is gonna be this piece as well, because see, we have created a confirmation path and we have added the email to it, so we need to do this. And so this confirm action, okay, it has to say self and also email is equal to none, like any good controller that takes as a parameter. And at this point, the email is verified. So I can say assert email is not none. Just because, I don't have any particular reason. But then we can put the email in the session. So we can say session, how do we call it? Email key, okay, is equal to email. And that's it. Serve session. And I think that's all that is needed. Okay, because this action lists the session among the requisites, and so this should all work. Okay. Now, the other thing we have to do is we have to look into the layout. You see here, I'm not sure that you looked at it, but there is this code where people can log in and log out and profile. So there is no logout, there is no profile, there is no change password. All these goes away. Okay. Now, but the other thing is this. So if globals get user, I wonder if this will work. So we need to create a user object that is injected by auth. We need to reproduce the step of auth that injects in the global the user object. So let me see how it is done a moment, okay? Auth, this is the classical auth, okay? And it should be able to actually inject in the globals that. So let me see how that is done. To inject the user object, I have to do something like this. I have to use my transform method of the output. And let's assume that I always am gonna do it. And so I'm adding this get user object, okay? So this get user object, I have to do it self.get user. Def get user self, okay? I think well, it's the same as the current user, I think, what I want to return. So I want to have an object that acts as a dictionary and has an email method. Okay, so I can simply say self current user. Okay. Okay. So this injects user in the template so that I can refer to it from layout.html. So let me look at layout.html to make sure that everything matches. I'll get user, and from the user I can get the email. So this should work actually, okay? And if there is no user, I want to say that you have to log in at a URL that is not auth register, but it's gonna be, okay, bear with me if this is okay. So actually I only have it for login, and this URL here, it's a bit horrible, but it was horrible also before. So I will just copy the URL of authbyemail.py for the login, okay? So the login URL, I defined it to be this one, okay? So I just copy it there. It's horrible now, it was horrible before, no big scandal, okay? So this fixes the login logic, I believe. Okay, and let me see. I also need to fix another thing. So this transformation method that I have here, okay, I also need to put a similar one in auth by enforce in the enforcer, so that even if you want to enforce, you still inject the user in the for the template. And so here I simply say return, okay, so let me do something that is a shorthand. Instead of return of the self session, I do this of self. Okay, and so when I'm in the enforcer, I say so the parameter that is passed is the auth object in this case, and so here you have auth.session, here you have auth.session, but the trick is that I can do self auth is equal to auth. Okay, so I remember who created me in a sense, and here I can do return self.auth.transform, okay, of output shared data. And so if we are lucky, all this works, and if we are not lucky, we will have a great occasion to do debugging altogether. Okay. Okay, so I had to fix a couple of things. So this get user email method, I need to define it yet, so let me not do this. I had to fix a couple of things, namely the definition of auth now follows the one of the URL signer. I could have put both of them in commons, maybe it would have been better. In fact, let me do that actually. So let me import these and the URL signer. So these lines here, let me put it into common. Okay. Pick the session type. Okay, let me put it at the end, for instance. So in models, I can put back my from common import auth. Okay, auth has a method current user. Let me check. Yes, we created it. Has a property current user. Yes, so that should work. And in the controllers now, okay, I can say here from common import auth and also URL signer in case I need it. Okay, and so here is a print like user, and I say get user email. Oh, I need to import that as well. Okay, from models import get user email. So yeah, so get user email. Okay, and in the secure I have the auth.enforce and return nothing. Okay, so let me see whether this works. Let me try to reload these after these changes, always checking necessary. Okay, so nothing blows up, but I haven't used anything yet, right? So let me see how this works. Let me use my my development edition of Firefox. I want to inspect, so I want to be ready enough for when the errors will start to pop out. So imagine I reload this page. What will happen? Wow, nothing blows up and says user none. This is amazing. There is a lot of code that works. Okay, now if I go to secure, the dance will start, because these should try to log me in. Okay, so this will blow up. Cringe. No, it doesn't. Wow. So one thing that I would like to do, however, is that in auth by email, when I create the form, so I give this parameter of the CSRF session, but the other thing I should really give it is form style is equal to form style Bulma, which I forget to import. So let me do that. Form and also form style Bulma, because I want my forms to look half decent, right? So form style Bulma. Tack. I think just this. Thank you. So if I restart these, okay. If I restart these and I go and I reload these, ha! So now I can say, look at ucsc.edu. Okay, and this should just print a link that I should be able to click on. POC. Ha! This works. Please click on it. Okay, and this is not using email. This just prints out this super long link, but I can probably cut and paste it. Can I? Did I take it correctly? Maybe I should use the shorter signatures, right? Okay, but fine, but this might work. So now the idea is this, that if I clicked here, let me do it in another tab just because I'm freaking out. So okay, so I need to also copy this portion, right? So yeah, it is disappeared. Okay, fine, let me go here. Sorry, we should invent an easier way to test this. Perhaps I should disable the signatures at the beginning. So if I do this, what should happen? That I log in. Not found. Okay, but this is silly, but is explainable because I have here 2 slashes, right? So let me try with 1 slash only. Did this work? Or did this blow up? Well, it doesn't seem to have blown up. But who knows? Am I logged in? I don't seem to be logged in. This is something that hasn't quite worked. So let me see better what happens when I reload this URL. Okay, so I inspect and I want to see the network to see if this has worked or not. So let me reload this page. This does a get. Okay, look at signature, get, and I get a code 200. So this succeeds. But then what does exactly do this? So let me reread my code of the confirm method. Okay. And the point is that I've been very silly, When I confirm that you have logged in, I don't do anything. So what should I be doing? I should be sending you to some place, right? Because now we have confirmed to be logged in. And I think I had this default place, default path, right? That I store here. It's just that I don't quite use it. Okay, so you should have the same line here after you confirm. Otherwise, nothing will ever happen. Okay, so if I add these and I restart, okay, I shouldn't need to do anything else. But now, if I am here and if I reload this page, let's keep an eye on these deleting the old calls. So assume I do this. Ha! I go to the index and I'm logged in. Oh, this works. This is actually beautiful. We got it all to work. And so if I now reload the index page, we should see that that it prints my username if I wrote the code correctly. So let me refresh, go here, and yeah, you see? So we got it right actually. We just had forgotten that small redirect, but the rest seems to work. So this is quite beautiful. And I will now make the code available to you. Git status shows me that I have new files and things to commit. Okay. Git remote verbose. So already I put it right. So I say git commit am. This works. Okay. Git push origin master. So you have the code, and this concludes the lesson. This is a beautiful way to log in, just typing your email in a form and getting a confirmation email and clicking on it. No password that needs to be remembered ever. This is nice. Maybe I should ask the Py4Web community if they actually like to adopt it as one of the various options of auth.